Hey everybody, welcome to my physical world, and we're using ArcGIS Pro. I'm starting a series that is going to show you how to use ArcGIS Pro for exploring and working with LiDAR data. Now, there's a lot of sources out there for LiDAR data, especially if you're not in the United States. I don't do a lot of LiDAR data outside of the US, but you guys in other countries should be familiar of where to obtain your local LiDAR data. For this video, I'm going to be showing you examples for the United States and where to get good, confident LiDAR data for your projects. Your geographic location in the availability of LiDAR data, you're just going to have to see if your area has LiDAR coverage. All right. But you can use some test stuff to get to learn how to use LiDAR in ArcGIS Pro. And basically this first video of the series is showing you where to get certain resources in order to download LiDAR data. LiDAR data in most cases comes in a format called LAS, L-A-S, okay? However, a lot of depositories for that data no longer put the uncompressed LAS files on their servers. They put the compressed version of a LAS, and that is called LAZ, L-A-Z. So I'm going to show you in this video how to set up your workstation to be able to go to the USGS's site in order to download LAZ data. Okay, there are third-party, open source, in this case free. Remember, open source doesn't always mean free. Open source means that it's developed by a community, but a lot of open source software is free to download. All right, and these third-party softwares are free, and there are links to in the description of this video of where to download those. Okay, so this video is gonna set up your workstation with the necessary software to start the process of downloading LAZ data sets. Well, not actually data sets, but LAZ files. Okay, so let's get started. So we are in ArcGIS Pro, and I actually have a LAS file open, and these are glacial remnants in our local area that I'm doing analysis of, and I've downloaded this LAS. Now, the next video I'm going to show you actually more detail of how to bring LAS data into ArcGIS Pro. LAS data. It's LAZ for the zipped compressed version, and then LAS for the actual data sets that you're going to be using. But once you have it in ArcGIS Pro, you can do all different types of analysis. And I will give you the overview in the next video. But for now, here's a look at this local area. And here we have a glacial remnant, which is called an esker, which used to be a river channel of melt water underneath the ice sheet. And then over time, that channel filled up with debris, such as rocks and soil and things like that, and basically plugged it up. And then when the ice completely melted, it leaves a ridge, a snake-like ridge. All right, and that's what you're seeing right here. Okay, so this is part of it, and then it actually, there's an erosion area over years of erosion, but it actually extends over, and this goes this way. All right, but that's not what we're doing in this video. But this is a point cloud. It's a LiDAR data set. LiDAR is light detection and ranging. Okay, so it's usually an aircraft that's equipped with the laser data, and it does a series of scans along the ground and records the laser echoes for different heights of objects. The advantage to LiDAR is that you can turn on and off certain types of data sets or data points. So if I right click on this last data set and I go into properties, you'll notice under classification codes there's never classified, unclassified, and then you have ground, you have low vegetation, medium, high, any building or low noise, model keys, water, rail, whatever the particular company that did the flyover records that particular return, that laser return, and classifies what that return actually bounced off of, basically. All right, so in this case, the only thing that I have is I have ground turned on, so it gives you the bare ground, and then the model key or reserved, which doesn't really show anything, to be honest with you. But with the LAS filter, you can turn off all of this kind of stuff. So if I turned on the vegetation and hit OK, you'll see that there are some artifacts, and they could be trees, buildings, towers, whatever. But like I said, with LAS data, LiDAR data, you have the luxury of going into the properties and turning off what you do not want to see. So I'm going to turn off everything except for the ground. Click OK, and you see the bare ground elevations of the ground. This is a very high level explanation of LiDAR. Okay, and there's some other tools that you can use in ArcGIS Pro to do more analysis. You can go into, like, switch on contours, have it draw contours, and you can change contour intervals and things like that. Plus, you can convert, you can convert to a local scene, which I already have, and that gives you the three-dimensional tools to look at the LiDAR data in 3D version. Now, our area, the topography isn't all that great. I mean, this esker is about 120 feet tall, above the regular topography or the normal photography, or the local relief for this particular esker is about 120 to 150 feet. Okay, it's not a gigantic hill, but it sticks out in the local landscape. But you can use the local scene or global scene, whatever your project requires. Now, I'm going to show you what's needed to get this kind of data. The first site that we have to go to get data, and a good source here in the United States, is the United States Geologic Survey, USGS. And they have a site, and the link is in the description, apps.nationalmap.gov/downloaders. One downloader. And you get a map of, you get an atlas of the, actually technically it goes out to the entire world, but here in the United States, you can zoom into your study area, and I am going to zoom over here by Norwalk, Ohio, which is about 15 miles south of Lake Erie. And I know that this particular area, that my study area for these eskers, is right along this Highway 61. Okay, so in the national map, if you want to search for LiDAR data, there it is right there, elevation source, and they have all other types of data that you can download besides LiDAR data, but that's what we're specifically targeting right now. So for instance, if I wanted elevation source data and I wanted LiDAR point cloud, I go to the map area and I will simply create a point or a polygon, and I will map the study area for what I want to map. So if I click in this small area here by drawing a polygon, double click to end it, then I'm going to do search for product. This might take a few seconds just because depending on my internet speed or the amount of data that you're requiring the system to look for. Alright, so once it finds all of the sources that are inside of this polygon or intersect that polygon, it's going to list them over here in this box. Now, there are other data sets for statewide that I don't necessarily need, because these are larger data sets, okay? But I'm interested in these individual panels, okay? So if you'll look as I highlight each one of these data sources, you're going to see right over here, you're going to see a little box, all right? And as I move to a different data set, the box changes, because that shows you the current extent of that particular data set. Okay, so for instance, if I wanted this actually I need to get above Highway 162, so we're going to go this one right here. All right, now in order to download it, or it's not going to really download it from here, okay, this is just where you set up the requirements of the download. All right, this site, you just don't click and download the data. You download a link to the data. That's very important to understand, because that's why you need some third-party software in order to get this data. I know it's goofy, but that's the way it works, and once you get used to it, it'll become second nature to you, I guess. All right, so let's say, for instance, I want these first three. All right, I'm going to click on the shopping cart for each data set that I want. Okay, so I have these top three right here. All right, that's down here, here, and a little bit further up. All right, now once you have the products in your cart, it's time to generate a data file. It's a text file that contains the URLs of where that data is going to come from. So I'm going to go to the cart, and I see I have a whole bunch of stuff in here already. Okay, I think. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all. Okay, I need to remove all because I have some products in there that I did a while back. All right, so I'm going to add these to the cart again. So I'm going to click that one, click that one, click that one, because I don't want to re-download something I've already done. So I've added those three LiDAR data sets. I don't want to use the word data set because that's something different in ArcGIS. All right, anyway, I want to download just these three panels. So I go to the cart, and now only those three panels are inside that cart. All right, now here's where the tricky part goes. We are going to export the URLs of where this data is to a text file. So I'm going to click text, and that down here, if you notice, I don't know if you can see it on the screen because I'm probably in the way, so let me move me out of the way a little bit. Okay, and you will notice down here it downloaded a file, data in parentheses 1.txt. all right. The reason it put a 1 in there is because I already downloaded a file a while back, so there's already a file called data.txt. All right, so now we have a text file that shows the URLs of where these data sets will be downloaded from. Let's take a look at that file. So I'm going to go open that in my File Explorer. And here's data set 1, and I'm going to right click and we're going to open it with Notepad. And alls it is, if you look at the text file, it's just 3 lines for each panel I want to download, and it's a URL to that LAZ file. Okay, remember, LAZ is a compressed version or zipped file, compressed, whatever you want to call it, of a LAS data file. Okay, so that data text file contains the URL to download it. Okay, so we're going to close that. Now the next step is using software to call this data file so it will go get the data and download it to your machine. So what we need to do is get the next piece of software. Now this next piece of software many of you might already have, but for those that don't, it's called 7-Zip, and it is free. It's a decompression compression software that creates zip files, which are compressed files. You guys pretty much know what this is, okay? But one download, and the reason I'm choosing 7-Zip is because one download of the third-party software requires 7-Zip because it's a 7Z file, not a .zip file. So if you go to this link right up here, 7zip.en.softonic.com, download 7-Zip and extract it to your machine so you have the extraction software. Okay, so you have to have 7-Zip to do this next one. All right, now the software that I'm talking about to go get those URLs is software that is called UGET. Okay, and that's available at sourceforge.net. And there is a link in the description of the video of where to download this. Now, this may not seem this may seem a little bit complicated, but if you click the download, it should download a 7-Zip file onto your machine in your downloads directory or wherever you tell it to. All right, so that's the ultimate goal. Click the download, make sure you're on the Windows tab, click download, and download that file. Now, I happen to download it, and it downloads UGET 2.2.1, Win32, and then the GTK 3, and notice it has a 7Z extension for 7-zip. So basically, right after I download this file, I open up my 7-zip software, and with my 7-zip software opened up, I find that 7Z file, okay, where I saved it. In my case, I have a folder called software/uget, and I simply select the 7Z and hit the extract button, and it extracts it. I had it extract it into my uget directory. All right, and that creates a directory with the same name. Okay. Once uget is extracted, you'll have that directory or that folder, and in order to run uget, you need to go in deep to that directory, to the bin directory, and then down at the bottom you're going to find a uget.exe. So you're going to double click this. You could save it as a shortcut on your desktop if you want to. Just drag this to your desktop and create a shortcut if you're going to use it a lot. But you're going to double click that to run the program, and you are going to get uget just like this. All right. Now, here's a set of LAZ files that I've already downloaded, but I need to show you how to create one. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to do a new download, and we are going to go to, this is not what I want, cancel. We're going to go to File, Batch Downloads, and we're going to go to Text File Import. All right. Now, I've copied, this is a different, this is this one that you see up here, but I can easily go to where that downloads is. Maybe. No, I can't. Hold on. The reason I messed up just one little thing. Don't worry about it. I forgot that uget can't see my download directory, my download folder. Okay, actually, it can. Duh. No, that's the wrong one. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't see it. Oh, yes, it does see it. I am so sorry. I do this live, so any mistakes you see how I get out of them. All right, so if I go to downloads, the data one is not there because I just moved it. That's why. All right, so let's go to Windows, and we're going to go down to GIS data, and I just put it in my USA folder, okay? Because I don't want it to mistake that as the previous download that I've done. So we're going to select data 1 txt file, and we are going to click OK. And now it reads that text file, and notice that it has the URLs for that LAZ data, right? All right. So once you have that read, you're going to click forward, and this is where you give it a path to save those LAZ files. All right. So what I'm going to do is I've done quite a few in my GIS Ohio directory. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go up to USA. So I'm going to change my path to USA just so I don't confuse my Ohio stuff. All right. Then I'm going to click OK. And so here's the new path of where that download is going to be. The next step is to make sure that status is runnable. And once you have the path and the runnable selected, it's time to do your batch download. So you'll click OK. And this box will go away when the download completes. All right. Now you see right here, it's downloaded some files. All right. I have a list of files that have been completed. So it's gone out to that URL and downloaded these LAZ files. All right. Now we're going to get out of UGET. And I'm going to open up my File Explorer. We're going to go into US. I'm going to drag that over here. And we're going to go down, and there you see those 3 LAZ files that have come in. All right, so UGET has copied these LAZ files down to my machine. All right, and I put them in my GIS data US folder. All right, any questions? Like, I can hear if you have any questions, but leave a comment. Now what? Okay, let me tell you about LAZ files, LAZs. ArcGIS Pro cannot directly read a LAZ file. It has to be a LAS file. I know that that's confusing. So what we need to do is we need to uncompress these LAZ files into LAS files. We need to go from LAZ to LASs. All right, and that is by using another third-party software, unless you have the interoperability function of ArcGIS, which is an extra cost. All right, but if you want a free LAZtool, this is the step to do it. All right, so we're going to minimize here, and I'm going to bring up another download tab, and this is Rapid Lasso. Okay, Rapid Lasso is the creators of LAZtool. All right, if you choose, if you want to download the LAZtools, so you're going to click on LAZtools, and it's going to redirect you to a lasztools.org. Now, you might get a non-secure warning in your browser, but don't worry about it. It is safe, okay? To get the LAZtool, you want to download the LAZzip software, right? Okay. So what you're going to do is there's LAZzip, and you're simply going to download LAZzip, okay? Actually, you want the LAZzip. Yeah, that's it. You want to download the LAZzip, okay? And then that's going to download an exe to your computer, all right? Link to the description is in the link to the site for LAZtools is in the description of the video. All right, so download your LAZzip, and that is going to create. It's just going to copy an exe to your computer. All right, so I'm going to open up my File Explorer, and in my software directory that I've created, it's around here somewhere. There it is. So here's my software folder, and I have one called LAZzip, and I have a LAZzip.exe in this directory, in this folder. Now, this is used to decompress a LAZ file, LAZ. So the first time that you run it, you're going to right-click and run as administrator. And you're going to get your warning, which is normal, but the software is safe, okay? It is safe. So you might get the Windows security warning that this It may not be a safe software, but just hit continue and it will run this software. But you only have to do that once. So anytime that you run laszip.exe, it's going to open up this dialog. I'm not going to explain a whole bunch of other of these buttons, but just the simple decompression part. But you can change projections and all this kind of stuff for these LAZ files. But we're not doing that for this. So you're going to open up LAZZIP, and you're going to hit the Browse button, and you're going to hit the back button, until you get to where your GIS data is. So here I'm going to GIS data, and then I'm going to come down here to USA, since that's where those 3 LAZ files are. Okay. And we're going to add those LAZ files to up here. Okay. And then you can click each tile and do them individually if you wanted to. All right. Or you can hit shift. No, I thought you can. You can, but you can unzip them all at the same time. I just forget how to do that. But that's okay. We'll do them one at a time for now. Actually, I'm just going to do, I want this one here. I want the middle one. Okay, so with that LAZ file selected, you're going to come over here to Output, and you're going to give it a name or a directory or folder where you want to save that uncompressed file, that LAS file. All right. By default, the output will be the same as the input. All right. So in this case, I don't have to do anything because I want it in that USA folder. Then you just simply hit decompress. And then you'll get a status screen that says the run, and then you hit start. And then that will disappear when it's done decompressing. All right. Now, if you want to do these other 2 LAZ files, you just click on it and hit decompress, and it will do the same thing for those. All right. So that's the LAZZIP tool that you need to install on your computer. Then finally, we finally have our LAS file. All right, so I'm going to get out of this folder, and I'm going to go up to my GIS USA, and I'm going to come down and notice now I only decompressed the one, and that is sitting right here. It has the same name as the LAZ, but it has a different file extension. This file right here is now ready to use in ArcGIS Pro. All right. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to open up ArcGIS Pro, and we're going to go to our map, and we are going to add data, and we are going to go to USA, and we're going to click the 012-870 LAS file, because that's the one that we decompressed. Okay, these are decompressed earlier. All right, so we're going to open up the 870, and we're going to click OK. And we are going to right-click that and zoom to that layer. And now we have our LiDAR data in ArcGIS Pro. Now, I know this was kind of lengthy, really kind of boring. It wasn't really GIS, working with the GIS software, but those are steps that you need to get out of the way before you can start doing this wholesale by downloading all the data that you want. The next video, we are going to get into using the LAS data so you can play around with the LiDAR data sets. Okay, so I hope this got you started. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for upcoming videos, because the upcoming videos are going to be using ArcGIS Pro for LiDAR data. Make comments, ask your questions. I'll get back to you. And if you feel inclined to support me, buymeacoffee.com/myphysicalworld. You don't have to, and I understand if you don't want to, but it helps me in the research that I'm doing. I hope this video will get your system set up. Go ahead and get your system set up so when I publish the next video next week on using LiDAR in ArcGIS Pro, you'll have everything that you need to do that. All right. Hey, I wish you guys a fantastic weekend. I hope you have the great rest of the day, and we will see you on the next video. See you later.